Hello, dear star shines. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Christina with Light Body Academy, and I am making this special live video on 8/8 because I want to talk to you guys about the real truth behind the Sirian Stargate. There's a lot of talk on the internet about this, but very few of those people have actually been in that Stargate and know what it is. So I have, and I want to talk to you guys about it, because this particular one is a lot different than all the other ones that have come previously. So my first experience with the Sirian Stargate was in 2006. What's unique about the Sirian Stargate is that it opens in a different location every time. Every year it opens up in a different location around this planet. And it doesn't open on 8/8/8. I hate to bust everybody's bubble, but our timekeeping mechanism, this human timekeeping mechanism, is not cosmically accurate. It's not even celestially accurate. So you might ask, then what's the big deal about 8/8/8? So let me deal with that first, and then I'll tell you about the Stargate experiences that I have with this particular energy. So the reason why 8/8/8 is such a big deal, or just 8/8, right, is such a big deal, is because it has a harmonic resonance with the frequency of this particular Stargate consciousness. And this is a Stargate consciousness that resonates with many of us star seeds and many of us human soul groups, period, because probably, roughly about 50% of the souls incarnated on this planet arrived here via Sirian Stargate through our sun. Okay. So it resonates through a massive part of the collective. Yeah, 50% is not an over exaggeration. I mean, that could be really a lot more than what I'm saying. But what happens is that we have a collective field, a 4D field, which I talk about very often. If you want to learn more about it, I have a whole training, 8-hour training on multidimensional lenses and the different levels. This 4D field is full of reflective and distortive mechanisms. So they reflect, distort, and invert divine frequencies, Stargate frequencies, higher consciousness frequencies. Okay, you can't stop them from coming to this planet, but they absolutely can be deflected, reflected, distorted, and inverted, which is exactly what our 4D field does. So when this Stargate opens every year, it's usually over the summertime, anytime between the end of June and the end of July. Okay. It fluctuates because, like I said, the timekeeping on this planet is not cosmically accurate. Anyway, the reason why 8/8 has a significance is that it has a resonance within the collective field, because many of us agree and participate in this particular way of keeping time. So 8/8 holds a resonance that many people in our collective are in vibration with. And that resonance actually sympathetically bypasses a lot of these aspects within the collective field that deflect, reflect, divert, invert, and reverse. Okay, so in a lot of ways, it's like directly, as much as we can in a human body anyway, receiving the true frequencies of the Sirian Stargate. Now, here's the thing about Sirian Stargates. The closer you are to them, to where they're opening, the more powerful and potent they are. Okay. Now, this affects the entire planet because we have energy lines, we have dragon lines, we have what's called referred to as song lines, ley lines, stuff like this. The energy lines, the acupuncture system of the planet transmits and moves, circulates this frequency all around the globe. And of course, there's that collective field resonance that it's moving through, right? So that it goes through multidimensional layers into our reality. And remember, these nesting dolls that we have are all participating in creating our 3D reality. So the Stargate opens, it's most potent in the area that it's opening in. Like in 2006, it specifically was opening in Holland, in a small village in Holland. And that was a really potent place for it to open because I don't know if you guys know about this about Holland, but it's below sea level and it's highly saturated with water. And there's a lot of farming that goes on in Holland, as well as other activities that include the working with water. So this is really important to keep in mind, because it is through the collective and those energy lines that frequency gets dispersed all around the planet and throughout the whole collective. And this 8-8 resonance, like I said, through sympathetic resonance, allows a more direct pathway for these frequencies to reach us. Now, these frequencies are no joke. They're very, very intense. When I did this, it was like sticking my finger in a spiritual lightning socket, which I talk about often. And if you go into my blogs on the Light Body Academy website, I talk about the spiritual lightning socket and what happens when you do this. And in lightning, if you think about lightning purifies. And actually, in fact, a lot of shamanic traditions will only allow people who've been struck by lightning to get initiated into their highest levels, because that person has been purified. They survived a lightning strike. Okay. So this frequency is quite intense. And what it does is it burns away, melts away, very, very abruptly and forcefully confronts all that is not the truth inside that person, inside the body, inside the subconscious, the ego driver. So, for example, in 2006, when I was at the opening of the Stargate, and many people were there with me. There were about 40 people. And then out of nowhere, I had no idea these other folks were coming. So were several of the ancient skull keepers. So there were ancient skulls that showed up for this opening as well. And so this was a synchronicity that was happening in spirit, far beyond any, mental ego driver planning. And what happened was, pretty much I got stripped down. I got stripped down to my core. I had to operate just purely by my core, because there was so much stripping down that happened. And it quite literally took me years and years and years and years to integrate the frequencies that passed through me during that Stargate experience. Now, I'm a bit thick-headed, so I showed up for another Stargate opening. But this time, the Stargate opening was in Russia, in the Georgia mountains. And there, I was in connection with some very, very powerful Siberian shamanic collective that was redirecting the frequency of the Stargate specifically to my location in the Rocky Mountains. And so I was there for that. I was in Park City, Utah at the time. And that is the next time I experienced direct frequencies of that Stargate, specifically redirected by those medicine people who have been the keepers of these Stargates for many, many generations. Okay. And that is where that story crops up, where I talk about I was in this altered state watching this bee make love to this butterfly, or make love to this flower for a very long time. And I was in ecstatic bliss for an unknown period of time while that was happening. That was a Sirian Stargate that was opened. And but this time I wasn't just digesting it directly through my body. I had a very potent medicine bundle to receive the frequencies as well. So it was not as traumatic, as intense. See, by then I started to get a clue about how to handle these energies. So these Stargates are very, very, very powerful when you get a direct hit of the energy. And those direct hits are like lightning bolts. So this Stargate that opened at the end of June, this particular Stargate, what everybody's calling the Lion's Gate, it opened at the end of June. And what the elemental beings from the Fae realm have told me, my collective, is that this time the Stargate's going to remain open for 2 years. Okay, it's going to remain open for 2 years. This is a very, very significant unprecedented event, okay, for it to be open. So that means that the Stargate, as those frequencies come through, it doesn't stay in one place, remember? It moves. So the focal point of the Stargate is going to be moving throughout the different locations of this planet, quite literally frying our collective, frying the BS distortions, inversion, reversals within our collective field, and also purifying the telluric realm, purifying the elemental realm, purifying the deep caverns of this planet. Okay, this is a really, really big deal. So it's going to remain open. Yes, the resonance of the direct contact, it peaks today at 8.8, but it's going to continue in this vein, and it's going to have several peaks. You can choose many resonant numbers for it to peak. 9.9, right? 11.11. So there's going to be many opportunities for this Stargate, for the Stargate resonance to have its climax within your connection and the collective connection. So I wanted to share this with you guys so you can prepare yourselves if you're not already prepared. Many of us are already doing our shadow work, are already, transmuting the dark forces that we're coming in, encountering and stuff like this. So we're already on it, but some may not realize really what's happening. So if you're getting confronted with things that are really freaking you out, that is the stuff inside of your body and your subconscious that's not in alignment with the truth of who you are. I just got a message from a friend not that long ago. I'm here in Mexico. There's lots of expats. There's lots of online entrepreneurs here. There's an area of town here. It's on the other side of town from where I'm at, called La Valeta. And there's a lot of building going on, and it has regular power outages, which means the internet goes out regularly for at least a couple of hours, right? So a friend of mine told me daily now it goes out for 4 to 8 hours, 4 to 8 hours, and then there's no internet, there's no AC, you see, so power went out like it usually does, but someone had a webinar that they were doing, and it was really really important to them. And the story that I was told from a friend of mine was that they were there in the lobby when this person was completely freaking out on the staff and, being really abusive with them because they didn't have internet. And I'm going to say the he-she dynamic, right? So he was able to hold her in such a way where she can have her freak out, and then her what I would perceive her nervous system could entrain with his, and she can calm down and go about her day and walk away from assaulting the staff. So these are the kinds of freakouts that will happen. Anything. And it really wasn't about the internet. In my view, hearing this story, it was about visiting the feeling of humiliation and failure, because he told me a little bit more of the story than what I'm telling you. So these kinds of things are going to come up more and more and more and more. So take note of the themes arising in your day-to-day, because if you work it out today, wonderful. If you don't work it out today, it's not going away. It's just going to build and get stronger and stronger and stronger. So if you're in a blame game right now, if you are in this person, that right now, deal with it. Deal with take accountability for the part that's yours, because quite literally, you are going to get your ass handed to you. I'm serious. You are going to get your ass handed to you. And I'm saying this out of compassion, that you have an opportunity for it not to be that way. Okay? You have an opportunity, but it takes showing up for it's being accountable for what your part is, being really looking at what part of you is investing so much in something that actually is not the truth. The truth is what sets you free in these kinds of frequencies. Anything less than the real will not do. Anything less than the real will not do. Those of you that are in twin flame relationships, I'm sure you understand this. Anything less than truth will cause total mayhem and chaos in your relationship with your soulmate slash twin flame, twin soul, whatever that label is that you resonate with, right? The truth is an energy, and it's powerful, and it will liberate, but it takes one willing to be there for the truth, to see the truth, to own their truth. Okay. Hey, Young Trick, how you doing, darling? All right. So Young Trick says, what was the potent medicine bundle you had when you experienced your butterfly bliss session? Okay. Yeah. So I was a mesa carrier. There are different kinds of mesas. This was a closed mesa, which means it was a mesa for personal work and for healing work, and occasionally for ceremonial work. It was not. It was different than the open mesa tradition. And the open mesa tradition is more about the art of building altars, building hyperdimensional vortexes with an altar. Okay. So mine was a closed mesa tradition that, well, it took me about, a decade to assemble that bundle. All right. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope this information was helpful. I really want to empower you guys. And I feel like in this case, knowledge is power. You can see a different relationship to the kinds of things that are rising up, that are challenging you right now. And if you look at it differently, instead of the blame game, instead of the why this is happening to me game, you can understand that these frequencies are washing through us, and what is not the truth is quite literally trying to purge out of our system. But we need to wake up out of it. We need to wake up to how we buy into the lie, how we want to blame, how we want to be victim, how we are playing, we're stepping into and holding on to our own disempowerment. This is all about our own liberation. It's about discovering what it is to be a multidimensional sovereign being. Everything we've been taught in our human existence has been backwards. It's been inverted. It's been reverted. Okay. It's been a lie. And now this is where the game gets ratcheted up a whole nother notch. For the next 2 years, we are going to have this traveling portal lightning bolt of truth, of consciousness from the Sirian star system pouring through our collective and into the energy lines of this planet. And actually, to add even more to it, there are times when this portal is in alignment with another Stargate system that actually brings frequencies from other galaxies to this planet. But I'll talk about that when we get closer to it. Okay, darlings, thank you so much for being here. I hope this was helpful. Until next time, bye-bye.